Good morning. This is the Ancient Texan. Uh, I want to talk about our federal debt. And it's not actually that complicated. I'm not saying it's easy to do anything about, but what needs to be done is actually pretty simple. We just don't have the will. There's not enough adults in the room. So if you don't want to hear something that's going to make you uncomfortable, then you should leave, go listen to someone else. Because what I'm fixing to say, uh, you probably don't want to hear. But I feel obliged to say it anyway because I think there's enough adults in America, maybe only 5% of the population or something. But I think if that 5% could start speaking up, uh, we might make a difference. And I'm going to try. Now here's the number one problem with our budget. Social Security. I'm an old fart. I'm benefiting from the Social Security, and I very much appreciate it. And I secretly hope that what I'm saying here doesn't affect my Social Security. But I think not dealing with it is going to affect me more uh, than dealing with it. Here's the problem. It's real simple. Same problem China has, France, Great Britain, most of Europe, Germany. We have too many old people that are living too long compared to the amount of kids that we've got coming up. There's too many old people relative to the amount of working people. That's that's just the way it is. And fertility problem, which is a whole another subject, is going to make it worse. It's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse every decade, unless you know people start having kids. And there's a lot of reasons that people don't want to have kids, but we'll save that topic for another day. But the reality is, Social Security has to be cut back. The most obvious change, whether we like it or not, is to delay Social Security for another 5 years, retire at 70. That will buy us some more time, a lot of time. I know nobody likes it, but I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if we don't make these changes. But I'm going to save that to the end of the talk. Number two, we could not have a cap on when we stop making Social Security payments. I don't know what the cap is right now, 200,000, 160,000, somewhere in there. Um, Once you earn that much money, they stop taking out the 7% uh, Social Security. You can take that cap off and let the rich people pay more. That seems to bother a lot of people. It doesn't bother me, but that would be a big help. Delay Social Security, make everybody pay 7%, even if you make $1 billion. Those two things alone would just have an enormous impact on our budget. Do we have the political will to do that? Nope. We want people to tell us that we're going to lower taxes and we're not going to uh, tax the rich. I understand the first one. I don't like all the taxes either. Second one, I don't understand. I have no qualms about having uh, Elon pay 7% on all the money he makes. Problem is, he's got a lot more leverage than I do. People are listening to him more than me, so, but I'm not going to change my opinion just because it's not popular. Here's a couple of more solutions for Social Security. Again, you're not going to like them. Bring in more immigrants that have professional and trade skills, especially immigrants in the working age, like 20 to 50. Bring in young workers that have professional and trade skills, electricians, plumbers, handymen, um, medical staff like nurses, doctors. Nobody's going to like that. But that will increase the amount of working people that we have to help pay for Social Security, pay for us old farts. Okay, that's those changes on Social Security would do just incredible things for our federal debt. Not a little bit, huge. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, doesn't make any difference. Those changes need to be made. You can argue about that all you want, but just look around the world and see what's happening to budgets, federal budgets. They're in trouble almost everywhere. There's a few exceptions like Mexico and stuff that has enough workers relative to the amount of old people. But there's not a lot of exceptions around the world. It's simple. You can, whatever system they're using, China has the same problem. And I suspect China will figure out a way to adapt to it and deal with it better than we will. That's not, it's not that I love China or love their system. Our system just doesn't have any courage anymore. And we want to believe fantasy stuff. Okay. Now, if we get past, dealing with Social Security, the next thing we could deal with is medical expenses. Like half the people in our country are growing up with diabetes. What the hell's going on there? It's not complicated. Too much sugar, carbohydrates in our diet. We need to get, RFK. I knew he was kind of a nut job, but I thought he might actually make some progress in this. It's not complicated. Our health is compromised. The number one problem in this country on health is sugar. And you get my age, the sugar catches up with you. Sugar and alcohol does the same thing to your liver, blood pressure, kidneys, whole 9 yards. Start some sugar. Number two is the whole model in America is broken. We don't try to live healthy lives. Our medical system waits until people are sick and then it gives them a pill. That's such a flawed system that it's really going to be hard to fix it. So some of the things I'm saying here, just accept the fact that that's our system, and how do we make that incrementally better and cost less until we wake up to the fact that we have to live healthy lives. The pharmaceutical business, um, we have to pass a law that says they can't sell pills in the US or any other kind of medical services cheaper than they sell it in other countries. We do not need to finance the R&D just in America. Evenly distribute that to all countries. That's a simple bill. It's a simple concept, but there's a lot of money on the table there. Shouldn't be talking about health issues with my cold, but that's the way it is. Less processed food. If it comes in a box, you should probably not be eating it. If it comes in a can, maybe you can eat it. But if you got words on the ingredients that you don't know, don't eat it. Also, the same idea that helps with the Social Security, more doctors and nurses that are immigrants. And you have to make an immigration system that picks the people that we want. I think the Republicans are probably easier to convince than the Democrats on this subject, but that's what we need. We also need more caretakers that are immigrants because we can't seem to staff that in the United States. Immigrants that take care of our kids and our old people. I'm not real sure where you're going to find this, but I'm hoping in Latin America. It used to come from Mexico when I was growing up. Lived in El Paso. They would come over from Juarez and take care of live in our house, uh, take care of our parents and our children, and they're part of our family. Back then, we paid them, $50 a week. I suspect it'd be a few hundred a week now, or if you gave them room and board. I don't know what the rate is, but I know it's lower than the Americans. And we need that help. And I am really fond of Mexican Mexicans, Mexican Americans, Mexican, Hispanic Mexicans, Hispanics in general. I am very fond of them, hardworking. I've lived in Peru for a year and a half, and I'm very fond of the Peruvian people. I've known some good people from Chile, from Colombia. A lot of good people there. Um, I'm not sure we can convince anybody to come up here anymore, but I think we need to convince the skilled people in Latin America to come help us. Not only because we need those skills, but we also need them working and getting more working people compared to the number of old farts like me. This is not political. It's not Republican or Democrat. This is just the reality. If you have a lot of old people that on Social Security, you can't afford them unless you have a large and prosperous middle class. Those other podcasts I had about what I want from the Democrats, minimum wage and those kind of things, um, still hold to that. But you can go back and look for that. I'll bring it up in another podcast. Finally, on our budget, this doesn't go over with Democrats or Republicans, but don't care. It still needs to happen. We have something like 800 military bases around the world. We can't afford that. It's not complicated. We can no longer afford that. Here's another topic nobody's going to like. We have to make peace with China. The trade war between the two of us um, is not going to end well. They control the supply chains. There's something like 1,000 programs for the military that are in trouble because we don't have supply chains. Get over it. Reality, China is here to stay. They're not going away. We have to learn to get along with them. We can't do this tariff stuff with China. That's not going to end well. We have to accept that they control the supply chains. I would like us very much to work on getting the basic supply chains, especially with metals, minerals, stuff that come out of the ground, stronger in America. But we need to get help with permitting from the Democrats. And we need some long term thinking from both parties. It's about a 10-year effort if we started right now working on our supply chains. And then we grow stronger, and it'll naturally take care of our situation with China. But right now, the one supply chain that we used to be good at was food. Um, and now we've just got ourselves into an economic situation with China that's not going to end well. So, what I've said is not complicated, and I don't think it's very easy to dispute. We have too many old people compared to the number of workers. That makes Social Security expensive for the hardworking person in America. And it's going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse every single day. Our health sucks because too much sugar, a medical system that just waits till you get sick and gives you a pill. Our military was built in a day when uh, we had a lot of money. We could afford to have bases all over the world. We can't afford it anymore. And we need to get along with China because that's not helping China or us. But I hate to tell you because China controls the basic supply chain, uh, they're in better shape than us on this deal of fighting. Fighting's mostly going to hurt us. You fix all those things, and our budget starts looking a lot better. It's not complicated. Reduce Social Security, make us wait longer, make everybody pay the 7% on all their money they earn. Reduce the military to where it's a defensive military, not a war military. Make peace with China. Of course, none of those are easy to do. And politically, they're suicide because Americans want to hear something else. But it's not complicated, it's simple. Now, what happens if we don't deal with the debt? This is not complicated either. And there's no real way around this. As our debt goes up, the number of people that trust us and are going to buy treasury bonds, they're going to decrease. To get more people to loan us money, we're going to have to up the interest rate, which ups the interest that we're going to have to pay on getting money to keep feeding our debt. But even upping the interest rate, we're not going to get enough people to fund us anymore because the whole world can see that we've got too much debt. It's not complicated. It's simple. So what is that going to mean when we can't get people to loan us an endless supply of money that we don't pay back? We're going to start printing money. What happens? Devalues the money. Biden showed us that when he financed a lot of the clean energy stuff by just upping the debt. Trump's showing us that now with the you know reduced taxes on the rich. As the debt goes up, the interest rate goes up. We print more money. When we print more money, it's worth less. Inflation goes up. Inflation is going to slowly increase. It's probably going to be, it's it's the new baseline from instead of being 1 or 2%, it's now 3%, primarily because of the debt. The tariffs aren't helping, but the debt's the big driver. It's, it's going to be. It's not going to just like one day go to 20%, but next year it's going to be 4%. And next year after that it's going to be 5%. It's going to be a steady upward climb of interest rate, which means our interest on the note is going to go up. We're going to print more money. The money's going to be worth less. It's going to increase inflation. There's no way out of that unless we're willing to do something pretty dramatic on Social Security and military costs. And we don't seem to be willing to do that. So, what's my biggest prediction of what's going to happen? Your currency is going to be worth less. Inflation is going to be worse every year. You can't get around it. It's if you're any good at math, um, it's mathematical. It's anybody that's got a fundamental understanding of exponential growth, uh, what interest rate does with time. I'm not saying anything here that's not just. I'm 100% confident that this is going to happen. Now, there's worse scenarios, but this is the optimistic scenario of what's going to happen if we don't deal with the debt. I want America to go forward and be the great nation it's been through my lifetime. I'm not saying we don't have a lot of problems, a lot of stuff we need to make better. But we're still in a position that we can do something about it if we have the courage to face the problems. And the problems are actually very simple. Now, there's a lot of nonsense going on. Uh, but it's not complicated, and I want America to make it. Another talk I'll do some more detail on supply chains and how that's eating our lunch, uh, what it takes to make that happen, and if what we when we do make uh, start developing our supply chains, we're going to lower our cost structure. When you control it from the ground all the way up to the finished products, it's all in our control. But it is not easy to go from where we're at to where we need to be. China's costs are low because they're smart people and they work hard and they control the supply chains. It's not really complicated. Anyway, this is the ancient Texan. Um, Hoping that I can make a little bit of difference on how you think. And we can get enough of us dealing with the problems, we can make an impact on the debt. Until then, I hope you have a good day. I'm looking for people that love America and want to face our problems. Have a good one. Namaste.